Well, howdy, tubers. Here's the long-awaited Hummel engine interview with Matt Higgins from Hummel Aircraft Company.
How you doing?
All righty.
All right.
What you got to tell us about,
Well,
Matt?
let's do a booth tour and then we'll talk about engine.
Okay.
All right, so there's the H5 we brought up for the show for folks to look at. It's a tri-gear H5. You can get in tri-gear or tail dragger. H5 is an LSA version, full Volkswagen, 85 horse, clips along pretty good. It's about a $450 to $500 build time with our new kit, which is a reasonable number. I think some people do a little less. I think that's reasonable. So it is an LSA, which means you need sport pilot or basic med and that kind of thing. Can be tri-gear or tail dragger. On the other side, we had a customer. One of our customers that lives close brought up Ultra Cruiser he's working on, so we could have it in the booth so people could see how they go together. Ultra Cruiser Part 103 legal ultralight, half Volkswagen, or this new VTwin engine we'll talk about a little bit. Build time is about 300 hours or so. Tail dragger mostly. You can do a tricycle gear, but it gets you really close to Part 103 limit, but it is possible. Most of the time, tail dragger is the way to go on this airplane. So that is the Ultra Cruiser. Behind us here in the booth, you can kind of see what's going on. We've got Lori making all kinds of good sales there, I hope. We've just kind of got our tent with some information for people. Talks about our builder's workshop. Working to the left across the booth, we've got a couple of examples of our new VTwin engine that we developed just for the Ultra Cruiser especially. So people have an option since the Volkswagen lead time is kind of long. Then to the left of that we have the kind of the I guess it's called the tub or whatever you want to call it. Simulator, whatever, so people can sit in H5 and kind of feel what it's like without climbing in on a real airplane. Pretty useful thing to have. So if we kind of walk up here, I'll talk a little more about the engines. So this is something that we've been developing for a couple years as an alternative to the Volkswagen. Just something for people to have if they don't want to wait the time for Volkswagen, or they could use this while they're waiting for their Volkswagen. Starts its life as kind of an industrial engine. It's a 670cc V-twin. Gets a lot of things done to it. There's a poster there that kind of gives you some of the ideas of things that happen to it. Does get billet connecting rods with bearings inside. Got a reduction system on the front that we developed. Keeps the engine running at a relatively sane speed compared to a lot of this other stuff that's out there. Lets us turn a little bit bigger propeller, which is good for a low-speed airplane. It's got a little bit higher compression. It's got heavier-duty valve springs. It's got a super lightweight flywheel in the back to keep the weight down. It's got a induction system specially built for the Ultra Cruiser that puts the carburetor nice and low so we can gravity feed from the carburetor. It does have an oil filter, and best of all, at 83 pounds, it has a starter. And it also drops right in the same spot as the Volkswagen in the Ultra Cruiser. A couple of custom brackets, and drops in the same spot, sits on the same mounting points, and the center line of the prop is just about an inch or two higher, which is not a big deal. It flies great like that. So the last piece of this installation is I got to work on a spinner that makes the front of the airplane look good. But other than that, it works well, it flies well. We've flown around quite a bit. It flies me in the airplane pretty good. I'm not at gross, but I'm fairly close, and flies well. These are lead times are probably, we're talking about a couple weeks to a month, probably at the most at this moment. If we sell a whole bunch of them, that might change, but right now that's what it is. So that's kind of what we've got going on here at the show. It's been a busy week. I had a lot of people in and out about the engine, a lot of people in and out about the airplanes, and the noise is getting bad in the background, so I think it's a good time to cut it off.
Well, I'll ask you what kind of pull tests are you getting?
Well, we did one pull test. I know we got up in the 200s for the pull. The prop manufacturer told us a pull test on their prop it is a tool, but it's not the tool, because their propeller tends to reflex and cone quite a bit during the takeoff roll, so it actually develops more thrust as it's going down the runway. So the best way to do it is just to fly it, which I did. And you flew it, Dennis.
Yes.
So,
and what kind of RPMs?
The engine at maximum throttle for takeoff, I'm only running the engine at 4,200 RPM at the most ever. And then at cruise, we're shooting for around 3,100 RPM in cruise, which should be give us a long lifespan for an engine like this, because these run in stationary systems at like 3,600 for, I mean, hours and hours and hours and hours without stopping. So we're not working the engine very hard. So far, oil temperatures have been really nice and low. And cylinder head temperature are great because we got a lot of wind blowing over those cylinders. And you can have it with mufflers, as you can see in this one, or the other engine that's sitting on the other stand. You can have it without mufflers, whatever you want. Mufflers, I think, if I remember, weigh about a half a pound. So you actually could lose maybe a half a pound without them. But it is quiet with them, and it is comfortable to ride in it. So.
And what's the price?
Price for out the door, like it sits, this one right here on the stand. This one's got everything on it ready to go. You could bolt it right in the airplane. It's $51.25. All new parts. There's nothing used on anything. It's all brand new. $51.25. You drop it and you hook up your fuel, your throttle, your choke, and then gets your power to the starter, and you're ready to fly.
So you say it comes with a mount that'll mount to the original Volkswagen Spot?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
All right. Well, sure. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks.
You have a great show.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.